Hi, my name is Sam Johnson, and I am a voice teacher. Today, I will be reacting to and analyzing Tori Kelly performing Seal's Crazy. Oh, crazy.
Yeah. A man decides after 7 years that what he goes there for is to unlock the door, while those around him criticize and sleep.
Look how into it she is, just on her face, like everything that she's saying right now, there's a meaning behind it. Even if there isn't a meaning, it looks like there's a meaning. And sometimes that's all we can really do as singers. But with her, I think she's so good technically that she like never has to think about anything about how she's singing. And she's a really good artist. So she is able to just go into just, I'm telling stories. So strong start so far. I also like that she's not over singing. I think sometimes Tori gets kind of a rep for just adding a lot of stuff. And where she's at right now, it gives a lot of room as the song progresses to add some more ornamentation, melisma. There's room to grow. And even if she doesn't add that kind of stuff, it still starts in a place that she can do kind of whatever she wants as the story goes. So that's a big thing to learn, is don't give away everything too early when you're performing.
Through a fracture on that breaking wall, I see you, my friend, and touch your face again. Miracles will happen as we dream.
I'm also struck by how smoothly she's moving between the breathier sounds, the together, more clear but quiet sounds, and the vocal fry stuff. I think I named this the three: breathy, vocal fry, and clear but quiet. And moving back and forth between all of those, there's not really big peaks as she moves between everything. It dynamically sounds like it's the same instrument, and everything that is changing dynamically is moving so smoothly that it just works really well. And those three sounds, like, it's not uncommon when people start using them for it to go like really, really breathy into just a really big sound, and you don't have the place in between.
No, we're never gonna survive unless we are a little crazy.
She's really good. When she does the survive, there's a little bit of a tonal shift when she gets to the vive, which I think is a really interesting thing. Because we're never gonna survive, because we're never gonna is all very, very spoken. She's not opening her mouth very much. And then on the vive, she goes away from how you would say survive, right? You don't say survive. You would probably say survive if you were going 100% speech level vowels. But doing that, it just sounds better. And so I think that finding a speech-like delivery in terms of how you're pronouncing your words is good most of the time, and always good to be able to. But then if you're like, this just isn't the right kind of emphasis, then change it. And she changed the volume a little bit, but she also just changed the vowel so it sounds more interesting. When you have this much control over your instrument, you can do things like that all the time, and it doesn't stand out as like wrong. It just stands out as interesting. Big difference.
And yet together they were friends at school. If I were there when we first took the pill, then maybe, yeah, miracles will happen as we dream. Yeah.
She's great. Her melismas are awesome. Her melismas, her runs, the moments where she sings multiple notes on one syllable. Anyway, that's the fancier word is the melisma. The probably more well-known is riffs and runs. And what's the difference between that? A lot of times runs just are longer, is kind of how I understand the difference. And so if you're trying to learn how to sing riffs and runs, and you really like how Tori does it, I would just choose one of those, like any one phrase that she does, and then learn every interval extremely slow. So in YouTube, there's a really nice feature. You can go into the settings and just click the gear. And if you're on a phone, you can only do it to like 0.25 intervals. So you could slow it to 0.75 or 0.5 or 0.25. I would go to 0.25, honestly, and see if you can learn the whole thing like its own melody, just really, really slow like that. And then once you get really good at that, go to 0.5. And then once you get really good at that, go to 0.75. But spend way more time on the slow ones than you think that you need to. If you're on a computer, you can slow it to 0.05 intervals, which I think is better because then you can just get more gradually toward the things that are hard, aka fast. So you can make those little adjustments a lot better. So it's basically doing metronome work, which is the most important thing that you can do as a musician.
But we're never gonna survive unless we get a little crazy. Yeah. No, we're never gonna survive unless we are a little crazy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Good. So on the crazy, yeah, like, obviously I just butchered that. That was not good, but who cares? That's the first time I've ever tried it, and I'm also not her. What I was trying to demonstrate, though, was on that first yeah, she opened a little bit more, and it started being a little bit squeezy, and then she more, on the top yeah. So the one that she kind of yelled a little more was on the A4, and the one that she kind of narrowed to more of a yeah was on the B, and I really like how she approached the one on the B. The kind of yelly one is obviously really emotional. It sounds kind of cool. I find that if you're not really, really good, it's just not worth going into that place like ever when you're singing through songs. Like aim to be able to go to the way that she did the one on the B 100% reliably before you start adding in anything that might not work as well. Because that yellier one just is not going to work very well. And if you tried to do the B in that yellier way, there is, as you go higher and higher and higher, it's diminishing chances of it being successful. With her, like, obviously she knows how to make that yelly sound. And then she knows also so well where her mix is just because she's had such wonderful training. I can't remember the name of her voice teacher, but like, he's great. He's just excellent. And she's a star vocally, technically, just her voice is so together. One of my favorite pop vocalists in terms of technique and everything. Song choice, I love when she does covers. Some of her original stuff I'm less drawn to, unfortunately. And the only way that I can kind of justify in my mind why she's not just a mega star is just some of her solo stuff is not quite as strong songwriting wise. Again, like, I like it. She's still in my rotation and she's one of my favorite people, but like, I have to kind of make up these narratives of why she's not a superstar because I think she's that good. She's so good at going into like mixy sounds that still sound yelly. There are a few times that I think that she does change from that mixier approach, the more speech-like approach, to the just straight up yell timbre, which is what happens when you open your mouth a little bit more than is necessary and you get a little bit louder as you're approaching higher notes. It's yelling, right? Like, it's really, really well-controlled yelling. And I think she's phenomenal at it when she chooses to do that. And it does seem like she adds a little bit more grit a lot of those times too. She's even better at going into the mixy thing and then making just enough changes that it kind of sounds yelly, but it's not actually that yell timbre. Beautiful, wonderful.
Oh, in a heaven of people, only someone to fly. Isn't that crazy? Crazy. In a world full of people, only someone to fly. Isn't that crazy?
Masterful. Just masterful. There are so many traps when singing that phrase, that whole kind of building section. And I love how they built it. I love how in tune she is with the musicians. Her musicians are awesome. Just really, really good singing. But there are a lot of traps where in a world you might want to really open up with that, but she keeps it spoken. In a world of being crazy, like on the S, she opens everything up. But with the cray, that's where most people get it wrong. They'll be like, am I cray? Am I cray? Because it has that leap up. Am I? Might be in a really good place. And then to try to maintain that sort of sound quality or sensation, we modify things to try to maintain it rather than embracing the fact that it's going to have to be a little different. She embraces that fact perfectly. Am I cray? It kind of turns over a little more. She goes into that E place. It's a little bit more narrow of a vowel, a little more closed timbre. And then when she opens to the E, it's with the context of starting crazy, crazy, rather than like crazy. And then suddenly it goes into a totally different place. And so some of the harmonics that are present when she does the cray in that really nice narrow place, they're still present when she opens it up. That was phenomenal. That's some of the best singing I've seen in these reactions that I've done on this channel in quite some time. Yeah. And it's up at the D. Geez. Yeah. It's all that yeah kind of place versus a yeah kind of thing. It's all about how you form the vowel. She never does it really, really wrong. In my voice with that, like, obviously I can kind of get it if I have a right vowel. It's so freaking high in my range that there's just not a chance in hell that I'm gonna get that if my vowel is wrong at all. And so it's nice to just see how powerful vowel is, because I think a lot of times people just think like, maybe change your breath support.
No one ever gonna survive unless we are a little crazy. So let's get a little crazy.
It's just like unfair how good she is at singing. I think a lot of times people who are really heavy utilizers of the melisma do it in a very self-aggrandizing way. I didn't feel that with this one. All music has repetition. Good music has repetition. If you don't have repetition, things aren't going to get stuck in your head. We can't escape repetition. And so there's a fine line, though, of repetition versus variation. And I feel like she's using melisma and dynamics and everything to just make every time that she delivers these things that we've already heard a bunch of times just different enough that it keeps escalating. It keeps playing with our expectations and then saying like, you know exactly where this could go. I'm going to go just a little bit here. And that is her taking us on this roller coaster. But because she's so controlled, you know you're not going to fall off the roller coaster. She's great. I love her. I want to sing like her. Great. Nothing else to say. Just overflowing gratitude for people who can sing that well. And gosh, what's her name? I think, what's her teacher's name? I think it's like Billy Parnell or something. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for your work for pedagogy and for helping this singer be so wonderful. If you are interested in signing up for voice lessons, go to vocalese.net to sign up for one with me or Mark or Vanessa, who are all wonderful teachers, and we all have slightly different styles. So try one with all of us. You gotta catch them all. Voice teachers.